Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 4.
A Southern Kentucky grandmother answers to charges she murdered her 6-month-old granddaughter. We'll take you to her first court appearance.
It's another cloudy and a cold day across central and eastern Kentucky, and I'm tracking more rain straight ahead.
The Supreme Court weighs the rights of pregnant women on the job. I'm Paula Reed at the Supreme Court with the story coming up.
Welcome to WKYT News at 4. I'm Jennifer Palumbo. It's another cold and dreary day. Temperatures are in the 30s in central Kentucky, and it looks like more rain is headed our way. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey has a first look at the forecast. And Chris, could we actually see the sun today?
You know what? There may be a little moment of sunshine into parts of central and western Kentucky over the next hour and change. Wouldn't you know it, we may see the clouds break momentarily just in time for the sun to call it quits for the entire day. We're looking out across Hamburg Pavilion, still with a cloudy sky, but I have noted a sunbeam or two trying to peek through the clouds. Temperature at 37 degrees. It feels like it is 33, though, with a gusty wind that is coming out of the west and southwest. Visibility today much greater than what we were talking about yesterday. It's up to 9 miles as of now. Farther west you go, we're a little warmer. We're in the mid-30s across most of the bluegrass region into eastern Kentucky. You can see some areas that are breaking out into at least a partly sunny sky from Covington back toward the Louisville area. Southeastern Kentucky, we started out the day as expected in the 50s, and we're dropping it now quickly into the 30s. Gusty winds not adding very much to the wind chill. Feels like it's in the low 30s across most of the region. Here's Live First Alert Defender. Nothing going on. Clouds with a few breaks to our west and to our north. Don't expect any just major clearing to take place at all, because I've got more rain that is coming in from the west and southwest. High pressure across the Great Lakes scooting on out of here. All the moisture where you see with the clouds now, a little later tonight and certainly over the next few days, you're going to see this blossom into a whole lot of rain. Focus of the forecast, Jennifer, on tracking the heavy rain and the potential for some winter weather threatening the area early next week.
Thank you, Chris. A grandmother charged with the murder of her 6-month-old granddaughter faced a judge this morning. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says 46-year-old Melissa Worstel was under the influence of drugs when she crashed her car early yesterday morning, killing Ivy Worstel. WKYT's Sean Moody was in court today for the arraignment. It's our top story at 4.
Melissa Worstel's first court appearance was brief. She was arraigned by video from the Laurel County Detention Center. Her public defender entered a not guilty plea.
All right.
Worstel is charged with murder, wanton endangerment, operating a motor vehicle under the influence, tampering with physical evidence, prescription controlled substance not in proper container, and possession of a controlled substance. Investigators say she was driving under the influence with her 6-month-old granddaughter Ivy improperly restrained in the passenger seat when she wrecked. Ivy was pronounced dead at a London hospital. Worstel's attorney entered a not guilty plea to all the charges. And Worstel has declined our request to get her side of the story. In Laurel County, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Worstel is due back in court December 9th. The city of Lexington has started its search for a new top cop. Yesterday, Mayor Jim Gray announced he's promoted Lexington Police Chief Ronnie Baston to Public Safety Commissioner. The Urban County Council will vote on the promotion tomorrow. Baston will replace Clay Mason, who's going to work for a private company. Baston will retire as police chief in January. City leaders confirmed to WKYT he will receive a pension from the department on top of the commissioner's salary. Right now, that salary is $124,000. Coming up on WKYT News at 5, we'll talk to the president of the local Fraternal Order of Police, who is also on that search committee, about what he's looking for in the next police chief. Our reporters are working on other stories for WKYT News starting at 4:30. Sam Dick joins us from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Sam.
Good afternoon, Jennifer. A Lexington driver says he's lucky to be alive after a crash on Man o' War Boulevard this morning. A driver was on the inner loop near Buckhorn Drive when his SUV hydroplaned. It jumped the curb and hit some trees. The driver is doing fine. The passenger was taken to the hospital. Police say he is in serious but stable condition. You'll hear from that driver on WKYT News coming up at 4:30. If you're not feeling well right now, you're not alone. It's the time of year when sick cases are on the rise. The health department in Lexington is confirming the city's first official case of flu. Sickness is also hitting the Dunbar High School band especially hard right now. We're told more than 90 band members were out of school today with flu-like symptoms. The sickness is believed to have spread while the band was in New York performing in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade last week.
You know, there's 4 kids to a room. They traveled up and back on buses. Most of the time in New York, we weren't on the buses. We were walking, but everybody was together the entire time.
And the band had to miss Lexington's Christmas parade last night. We'll update you on the sickness situation coming up on WKYT News at 5. And that's a look at some of the news in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thanks, Sam. Now to stories making headlines across the nation at 4. The Supreme Court justices are weighing whether employers should have to accommodate pregnant women who are no longer able to do some of the tasks they were hired to do. As Paula Reed explains, it involves the case of a woman who was put on unpaid leave from her job as a UPS driver after she got pregnant.
Moms rallied outside the Supreme Court in support of Peggy Young, a former UPS driver put on unpaid leave while she was pregnant. She sued.
This was not what we intended on from the beginning. We just wanted what was right.
Young wanted lighter duty after a doctor told her she would no longer be able to lift more than 20 pounds. But UPS put her on leave without a salary or health benefits.
It wasn't UPS's place to force Peggy Young to choose between giving birth to her daughter Trinity or working her job.
The court is weighing whether UPS violated the Federal Pregnancy Discrimination Act. Justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Elena Kagan appeared to be sympathetic. The case has united 2 camps behind Young that often oppose one another: women's rights groups and anti-abortion groups.
It could put women in the unjustifiable position of choosing between the welfare of their unborn child and economic security for their family. This is wrong.
UPS said it was following the law, but recently voluntarily changed its policy to offer more accommodations for pregnant women, a move the company notes is actually ahead of many companies and government agencies. Lower courts sided with UPS. A Supreme Court ruling is expected in late June. Paula Reed, CBS News, Washington.
Right now, 9 states have laws that require an accommodation for pregnant women. There is a bill in Congress to make that a federal law. A Staten Island grand jury decided this afternoon not to indict a New York Police Department officer for the chokehold death of a man. Garner last July for selling untaxed cigarettes. One officer put Garner in a headlock after police say he resisted arrest. New York, like many cities across the country, has seen protests in the past week in the wake of the Ferguson grand jury decision. The city says it's prepared in case violence does break out in this case.
People have strong feelings on these issues. I think my message is we're doing a lot to change the reality here in our city, to reform the approach our police take and bring our communities and police closer together.
The New York City grand jury has been hearing evidence in this case since late September. The case of the 100 missing brains from the University of Texas at Austin has been solved. A university official says the missing brains have been found at the University of San Antonio. It turns out the brains had been transferred about 28 years ago under a temporary possession agreement because there wasn't room in the UT Austin lab. The school originally thought someone had stolen the brains. One of the brains is believed to have belonged to the clock tower sniper Charles Whitman, who killed 16 people in a 1996 rampage at the University of Texas. Another record-setting day on Wall Street. The Dow picked up 33 points to close at 17,913, a record close for the second day in a row. The S&P 500 also set a record, closing at 2,074. The Nasdaq added 19. Move over Black Friday. This year, Super Saturday could be the #1 day for holiday sales. Research firm ShopperTrack says the final Saturday before Christmas may be the busiest shopping day. Researchers say more people shopped on Thanksgiving Day this year, which took some of the hype away from Black Friday. But 7 of the top 10 sales days of the holiday season are still to come, and retailers are getting ready for those last-minute shoppers. A new promotion from Sprint will try to lure competitors' customers. Starting Friday, Sprint will match the data allowance of a customer's current Verizon or AT&T plan for half the price. Talk and text is unlimited. The carrier will also pay up to $350 for an early termination fee. This comes as Sprint has faced subscriber losses and seen its stock price cut in half this year. Lefties may be more creative, but they're not necessarily better at business. A new Harvard study finds lefties will earn 12% less over the course of their lifetimes than people who are right-handed. It's time for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. New research shows many Americans are battling depression and aren't getting the help they need. Adriana Diaz has details.
46-year-old Kate Wickman has struggled with depression since she was a teenager.
Exhausted, sad, hard to get out of bed, hard to pick up the phone. There's also what I find sort of curious is there's a guilt, an embarrassment.
New research shows almost 8% of Americans have moderate to severe depression. The National Center for Health Statistics found depression is more common with women and among people ages 40 to 59.
Lowered mood, a lack of an ability to enjoy anything in life. We also see appetite changes, people have trouble sleeping.
The report finds only about a third of people suffering with severe depression seek help from a mental health expert.
It's very, very concerning. The fact is that the people with a severe depression can have very significant symptoms, can have some thoughts of suicide.
Doctors say patients shouldn't give up if treatment doesn't seem to help at first. A combination of techniques, including medication and psychotherapy, may be necessary. For Kate, the right diagnosis was key. After years of various treatments, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Once I was on the right medication, I was experiencing life for the first time. I realized I did not know what it was like to go through life without depression. So it was just such a relief.
Adriana Diaz, CBS News.
The study also finds people living in poverty are more likely to struggle with depression. In the battle against high cholesterol, diabetes, and obesity, when you eat may be just as important as what you eat. A new study at the Salk Institute in California recommends eating only during an 8 to 12-hour period during the day. Researchers say eating during specific hours has led to weight loss in mice and could help researchers understand what causes obesity. Twitter is helping fight back against online harassment. The social media site is going to give users better ways to report abuse and bullying and respond faster to complaints. Hershey could be changing its recipe for peppermint patties and other popular goodies. The candy maker is looking into replacing high fructose corn syrup with sugar in certain products. The classic Hershey bar is already made with sugar, so that recipe will stay the same. Many people avoid corn syrup because they think it causes weight gain, but experts say it's not clear that it's any worse than sugar. For more health, education, and consumer news, go to WKYT.com and click on Better Living.